Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing well. Today, we're talking about freebies. This is just one of those videos where I'm just kind of shooting from the hip and talking to you guys, filling you in on a little behind the scenes information. So yeah, we're gonna be talking about freebies and what they mean for a YouTube channel, my views on them, how it actually works, all that good stuff. So let's jump into it. Now, I'm not going to be taking any shots at any other channels, mentioning any other channels, nothing like that. This is solely information for you guys. So this is something that's been going on for years and years, this debate on freebies. Should you accept a freebie? Should you not accept a freebie? Can you trust a review on a freebie? All that stuff. So first off, let's talk about designer freebies. For me, my channel is decent sized as far as fragrances go. I mean, in the grand scheme of YouTube, it's not, but for fragrances, it is. I don't get designer freebies. I haven't even been offered designer freebies. So as far as those go, it doesn't exist. Unless, I guess, maybe if you're a bigger channel than me, maybe they kick it to you. Like maybe Jeremy Fragrance might get some. I'm not sure, but I don't get designer freebies. So anybody, I think my size and lower, that doesn't happen. So what that means is when a new designer fragrance comes out, you gotta buy it. So if you want to cover it, you're ponying up your own money on it. Obviously, that gets really expensive really fast because designer fragrances are not cheap when you're talking full retail. You're going to be spending probably close to an average of $90 per bottle or so. So if 10 new fragrances come out that you want to cover and you buy all of them, it's almost $1,000. And that's why a lot of channels will forego covering new fragrances as soon as they come out, designer fragrance wise, which makes total sense because it's not cheap. Like I said, that'll run up your credit card real quick. I'm sure a lot of us out there would like to get some free designers in from time to time, but as of right now, just doesn't happen as far as YouTube goes. I think they don't really view us as that important. So that's designers. Now let's talk niche and indie. And I'll give you guys my opinion and how I currently go about freebies and all that stuff after I explain how this works. I'm gonna try to make this not meandering, but it probably still will be, so stick with me. So typically, the way it works, if we're talking a niche brand themselves sending you their own fragrances, not talking about stores or anything like that. I think that's completely different. We'll get to that in a second, but brands. So let's say like Raja Parfum or Parfums de Marly or Xerjoff or by Kilian, whatever. One of those brands wants to send you their stuff. They'll have somebody within their company, typically the person that deals with social media, send you an email or sometimes message you on Instagram, and they'll be like, hey, what's your address? We want to send you something. And it's pretty much that simple. You'll be like, here's my address, and then they send it to you. But it's not always that simple. If it were just them sending you something and then you were able to do whatever you want, say whatever you want, and there were no repercussions, that'd be one thing. But that's not how it works. So the brands, a lot of them, they kind of talk amongst each other. So there's this understanding of this guy is good. Do send it to him because he's gonna say something great about you always. Don't send it to him because there's a chance that they don't cover it at all, or there's a chance that they cover it and maybe say some things not so flattering about the fragrance. So there legitimately are lists, which sometimes these brands will actually allude to when they speak to you, that will say, these channels are all good, always send it to these people, never send it to these people, or maybe occasionally. So that does happen. And that's where the issue kind of is for niche brands sending things to people. Sometimes niche brands will say, hey, we're gonna send this to you. Say whatever you want, right? Because we want you to have total control over what you say. And that's where you run into an issue where the person that does the review, and this is not totally on the person doing the review because this is like both sides, but the person doing the review will say, the brand said I can say whatever I want and that's what I'm gonna do, but not exactly. Because there is an understanding that if you say something negative, like overtly negative about the fragrance, you're cut off. You will never hear from that brand again, ever. And this is not to pat myself on the back or anything like that, but it's happened to me more than once. There are brands that would hit me up and say, oh, we got this coming out, we got that coming out, we'd love to send it to you. And then I did a review or said something that they didn't like, something that was maybe not overly glowingly positive. And then that's it. You will never hear from them again. You are cut off. And so right now we're in this kind of weird stage where brands do want to be covered on YouTube by fragrance YouTubers. And so they're going to reach out to a lot of people and send out a lot of stuff, but they will cut you off like that if you say anything they don't like. And again, that's not entirely on the YouTubers either. That's on the brand as well. A lot of these brands are fragile. So if you say anything bad about them, they will go around to other brands, they'll badmouth you, they'll cut you off, they'll do the whole thing. Now, for me personally, I don't give a crap, because if I want something, I'll buy it. Like if I really want a fragrance, I'll just pay for it, you know. Now, maybe if it's really expensive, I'll put that purchase off for a while. Maybe I won't get it right when I would want it, but you know, sometimes you just got to be patient. I personally don't like getting things from brands at all, because you become beholden to them. Basically, once they send that fragrance to you, you're on the clock. They're gonna start hitting you up. They're gonna be like, hey, when are you gonna put that review out? What did you think of the fragrance? What are you gonna say? You know, this kind of deal, until that video comes out. And then when it comes out, they're gonna be like, oh, thanks so much for doing that video. Thanks so much. What can we send you next? And it becomes this weird song and dance where now you're basically like a contractor for that brand, because they know when they send you something, you're gonna say something nice, because you don't want to cut off that flow of fragrances. You don't want to bite the hand that feeds. So you're gonna say, oh, you know, I love it. Oh, it's so great. I've got the video coming out here. And then they'll be like, okay, nice. Here's your next batch of fragrances. Make us more videos. Put us in that list. Make a list specifically about us. Do another review about us. Could you put us in your spring list, your summer list? Could you do that? It becomes that kind of thing, legitimately. So anyway, get the emails in, ignore them. 2-3 weeks later, all of a sudden that brand that reached out to me, you start seeing them pop up. Boom, 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 all over the place. And it's just a weird thing to be privy to, where you got that information from them. You said, no thanks, and then all of a sudden, bam, 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 everywhere. Now, if you follow the channel for a long time, you know I don't cover a ton of niche. I mean, I've got a lot of them, but I don't cover them as often as designers, not even close. And that's because for the most part, I do this channel to help out your everyday guy or your person who's just looking to feel more confident, to smell nice, stuff like that. I love niche fragrances, but the proliferation of this kind of quid pro quo stuff has made me take a step back from niche fragrances in general. And I'm not saying designer brands are better or holier than thou. They're not. They're out there to make money. That's what they're trying to do. Niche brands are trying to make money too. I get that. And it's harder for them to break through. They don't have the budget as far as marketing and stuff goes that these houses do behind me. But there's just something that hits me wrong when a brand will say, hey, we're going to send you our whole line. You just pick out the stuff that you like, talk about that, talk about how great it is, tell people to check out our whole line, and ignore the ones you don't like. Just don't mention those. It becomes this very strange kind of thing where every niche review you see is someone saying, oh, amazing, I love it. But had they paid retail for that instead of getting it for free, would the opinion be a little different? So for me, you know, getting the emails that I get, getting the messages that I get, getting cut off when I say anything remotely negative about any of the fragrances from the brand, it makes me suspicious. Just as an example, the newest example, Raja Parfum. They came out with Apex, and that's gravy. I talked about it on This Week in Fragrance. I said that it looked a little bit like Axe body spray mixed with Night Vision Eau de Toilette, the bottle. And guess what? Cut off. That was it. That's what'll do it. Never mind that I said, you know, it's a Raja Parfum and it's probably going to be very appealing and smell great. The fact that I said that about the bottle made it to where they said, take that guy off the list. And things like that have happened with multiple brands. Maybe I'll get a fragrance that's sent to me from a brand. This has happened where I say, you know, it smells nice, but I would definitely never wear it. I think it's more feminine. I think it's this. And that'll be it. You will never hear from them again. It can be something that small. Now, as far as my opinions on everything with freebies, like how I do stuff, at this point, I have no interest in getting a freebie from a brand. And yeah, maybe it's not the best way to go about it, but typically when brands reach out nowadays, I just ignore it. Of course, the number of brands reaching out dwindles over time as you do refuse to work with, standalone brands and everything, but it is what it is. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong, period, about getting a freebie from a brand. The only thing that I think causes issues is that there is an understanding, as I mentioned before, that if you say anything negative, that's it. That brand is done with you. And maybe there's, an odd outlier here or there who's not super fragile, who is going to take criticism in stride and be like, okay, thank you, and they'll still work with that person. Maybe there is the odd brand that will do that, but most of the ones that I've had experience with, they're not like that. So that's where the issue is. The person reviewing understands if I say something that could be really taken as, I don't like this. And I'm not talking about those wimpy kind of like, oh, it smells amazing, it's fantastic, I love it, it's mind-blowing. Oh, but it doesn't work for me. But it's so amazing and it's fantastic and man, compliment puller, but it doesn't work for me. That's not a real kind of review. Like, could you see a movie review where Siskel or Ebert was like, oh man, this movie is fantastic. The cinematography is insane. The plot is amazing. The direction here, the acting, everything top notch. But it's maybe not for me, but it's so good. I still get freebies in from time to time, but it's from stores. I don't mind to get stuff from a store. So like Fragrance Buy sends me something, or Max Aroma or Twisted Lily. I use those stores. I shop at those stores. Like, I actually spend my own money there. And if they allow me to choose some things from the store that I get in for free, yeah, I'm cool with that all day, every day. And I think anybody else that does that, I got no problem. I've got no problem with them getting stuff from a brand. It's just the way that you go about it is very different. Because Max Aroma, Fragrance Buy, they probably would like me to like the fragrances that they sent, but if I don't, whatever, because I still say I got this from here and I use that store, that's all they really care about. So I can get something in from them and be like, this is garbage, this sucks, which I've done numerous times, and I never hear anything about it. They don't care. I've just seen a lot of people talk back and forth who don't actually really know how the whole freebie thing works. So I wanted to do this video. Essentially, if you break it down very simply, niche houses and indie houses as well, but indie houses less so, they're not as connected, so they reach out mainly themselves to everyone and hope to get something back. But niche houses especially, there's kind of a list. They call it a press list, media list, a bunch of different things depending on the company. And they will have on there like, this person, yes, this person, yes, this person, yes, this person, yes. And then over here, like, these people, no. As an example, Creed. Creed sent me Ventus Cologne, the sample, and Viking, the sample, when that's what they were doing. And then I did a This Week in Fragrance video. Those get me in trouble, of Ventus, the anniversary edition that they did. And I said on that video, this is basically a cash grab. This isn't a Ventus cash grab. They're taking a green Irish tweed bottle, putting a different sticker on it, putting a Silver Mountain water cap on top, and going like, hey, check out this collector's edition. And Creed, at that point, blacklisted me. That was it. That's what will do it for you. Something like that, you're done. So understand that when you see maybe a fragrance brand suddenly pop up everywhere, Fragrance Du Bois. Recently, they reached out to me, offered me their entire line, and then suddenly, boom, 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 everywhere. When you see that, understand that the brand may say whatever you want, but they don't actually mean it. They mean say everything you want, as long as it's super positive. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thank you for hanging with me. Thank you for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you guys tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.